whole question of ball tampering is back in the news again, with the admission by the former Pakistan captain Imran Khan in a book just out that he actually tampered with a ball in a county game in 1981. Of course, it was the Pakistani tour of 1992 which brought the whole thing to a head, and it even made its way into the High Courts when Alan Lamb found himself having to defend various allegations he had made in the Daily Mirror against a writ brought by Safraz Nawaz. Now, what we can show you now is some of the vital video evidence which was actually presented to the High Court during that case. Question is, though, how big an issue is ball tampering? Is it something that the media have just blown up?
Well, I first became involved, and that meant the Daily Mirror became involved in August 1992. And this was after the drama of that afternoon when the Texaco Trophy match went into a second day, and we got a tip from, in fact, Ian Botham contacted us, but it was Ian Botham and Alan Lamb that put us onto the story.
Without the media role over the last couple of years, this whole issue would have been swept under the carpet, and I think that would have been dreadfully wrong.
The story need never have continued for 21 months, or maybe it should have done, because we flushed out a lot more evidence of cheating in cricket, but on that day it was badly mishandled by everyone running cricket. When I say everyone, I refer to the International Cricket Council and the Test and County Cricket Board.
A lot of the problem with this whole issue when the ball was changed here at Lord's 2 years ago now, whatever it was, a lot of the problem there was the fact that no one was prepared to admit why the ball had been changed. We had to make educated guesses, and by and large those educated guesses were absolutely right because of the circumstances. But because no one actually admitted that, then a lot of money was wasted taking cases to court. How much money gets spent there? Immense amounts of money. And where does that money go? It goes into lawyers' pockets. That's a complete waste of the system and a waste of money. Now, had we had Lords prepared to admit, the authorities in general prepared to admit that something had happened under that regulation, the ball had been changed, and therefore the Pakistanis had been slapped on the hands as naughty boys, okay, we could accept the situation. We wouldn't have had to victimise anyone. We wouldn't have had to accuse anyone or suggest accusations to anyone.
It's extraordinary to me that they haven't taken advantage of looking at the tapes, the footage put together by Chris Cowdrey, the huge amount of evidence that came out in that court case, the most dramatic of which was surely Don Oslier standing in the witness box and saying the ball was changed under law 42.5. Everyone in the world knows that covers changing the condition of the ball, and that means somebody damaged it, maybe one player, maybe more than one player. I don't know why they don't take advantage of looking at that film footage and clear up this whole issue.
Oh, steady on.
The evidence that was given in court under oath strongly points to everything that's been suggested being pretty true. I don't know if I can say that legally, but I have done now. And so you get on and you solve the problem. You don't sweep it under the carpet, you solve it.
It would be good for everybody if it was just sorted out, and that would be to get Derek Murray's report and say, now we'll tell you, that afternoon the ball was changed because somebody cheated. Don't just continue covering it up.
It's got more prevalent over the last few years. I think it's got far more sophisticated over the last few years. We've seen things in papers like bottle tops and things like that. Well, that long ago was outdated. There are far more sophisticated ways to interfere with the ball than the use of a bottle top. Really hard, sharp nails. You don't have to carry a bottle top then. Hard, sharp nails, opening up the quarter seam with the thumbnail and various things like that. As soon as one way has been spotted, then obviously other ways are sought after to interfere with the ball.
I think picking the seam, we shouldn't condone that either. If that's taking unfair advantage over the batsman at the other end. But gouging the ball is something totally different. I mean, they're totally defacing the ball. That's what we're talking about, taking chunks of leather, making holes in the ball, and it's now admitted by a number of people, including their most celebrated cricketer Imran Khan, one of their greatest cricketers to Waqar Younis, that this has gone on. And there is a vast amount of difference in defacing the ball and then deliberately hiding the evidence from the umpire. Isn't it absolutely disgraceful that they've had to resort to this? They can actually get people out without cheating, so why cheat? All we want is the offenders, the culprits in this issue, to be dealt with.
It's simply that we have seen some fast bowlers in the world recently who have perfected the technique of reverse swing and who bowl absolutely magnificently under the conditions in which it works best. And so I think that's why this particular aspect of reverse swing has grabbed the headlines. It's new. It's something that not everyone understands. I don't claim to understand why it happens. I can't work it out. I wish I had known about it. I might have discreetly had a go myself. I would have been cheating if I had done, and I would have expected to have been in big trouble had I been caught. But there wouldn't be too many bowlers, I don't think, who would have known how this worked and not have tried it. I'm sure of that.
Things have happened in the game that could have been finished, stamped on, if strong action had been taken immediately with regard to the tampering of the ball, and all this is 18 months ago. It had all been over and forgotten with by now. But until the authorities come out with the exact truth, and therefore people know what's happening, what's happened and what's gone on, until they do that, then I'm afraid it will just return to haunt.
There have to be grave doubts about the circumstances in which Don Osley has stopped being an umpire. He could have been kept on, and it seemed he was an embarrassment to the board. So is Alan Lamb. I mean, I can think of a lot of other players that have gone under. What is really sad is his Test career seems to have come to an end, and to be fined £5,000 for what, in the end, was telling the truth was remarkable. If they wanted to put that right, the best thing would be pay the money back to Alan Lamb, or say your fine's forgotten.
Although all this evidence came from the Test series between England and Pakistan in 1992, it would be completely wrong to suggest that Pakistan are the only culprits.
I've played in Leicestershire teams where the umpires have come up at an interval and said this ball has been picked, the seam has been picked, put a stop to it immediately, and we're reporting it to Lords. And people who did pick the seam knew that they were cheating when they did it.
Seemed to be a bit of a hoot. He's done this, he's done that, and he's moved, and he's took 5 wickets, and it would an argument be that they're all at it. Well, that's not strictly true, because the greats would take great exception if you said, Fred Truman, you used to tamper with the ball. Well, when you pick yourself up because he hit you, you could answer the question. Richard Hadley as well. The very, very great bowlers wouldn't need to do anything. Others maybe wanted to make something happen quicker, but it's not new.
The umpires now have a system in this country where they inspect the ball at the end of every over, and I think that's perfect. They all know what they're looking for. That's the important thing. There has to obviously be a system of educating all the umpires of the world to look out for this ball scratching technique, and if it's introduced worldwide that the umpire looks at the ball at the end of every over, that should be all it takes.
It's an issue that obviously is a very controversial one. It's been stimulated recently by the admission that Imran Khan made, but over the last year or so, in the reports that I'm seeing, no evidence of it whatsoever. And I think the players understand now that the game is to be played within the laws and the spirit of the game, and I think all over the world the players are doing the right thing.
Well, it can't be a dead issue when we've now revealed that it was going on again last year, and only recently Waqar Younis has admitted that he said he has tampered with the ball. Both umpires in a match at Ilkeston last year said that the ball was damaged. Unfortunately, they failed to report it to the board, so in fairness to the board, they can only react if reports are put in, but they received balls from other games and took no action, and they do seem to be extremely wary of taking tougher action against the offenders. But it always seems to come back to the same offenders.
Oh, steady on.